Going on, everybody? Shay5969 here, and today I have a special guest in the house with me. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris from Lone Star Knife and Supply is sitting down with us today. Thank you, sir, for being with us. I appreciate it very much.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. So, if you're pretty much ready, we figure we just get right into it.
Let's do it.
Right on, man. So, first thing I wanted to ask you, is whether it be in regards to like making content or videos or like just being creative in general, do you consider yourself an artist?
Yes,
Absolutely.
100%. Yeah.
And that was like a thing for me. I always like had a hard time like identifying. Like I was a musician for a long time, so it always took me a long time to be able to come out and be like, yeah, I am an artist. But like especially now that it's like transitioned to content creating and things like that, it's like there's so many different artistic outlets, and I always like to ask people like whether or not they consider themselves an artist, just like to kind of get their take on it. Some people are really
Yeah.
apprehensive about it. Some people are really like forthright with it, and I think it's just a cool thing to kind of get a perspective on.
I so when I was in high school, me and my buddies, we would get together and there's like so many things we could do. What did we do? I was like, "Hey guys, let's make movies."
Dude, that's
And
awesome.
we did. We made little short films, and into my early 20s, we continued to make short films, and I've got videos on YouTube that are actually older than the Google version of YouTube. Like I posted on old YouTube before Google bought it.
Wow,
So I've got videos that are over 20 years old that I made that are posted on the internet, and it's been a big passion of mine my entire life. And when I had kids, I have 3 kids. When I started having kids, I kind of stepped away from making videos, and it's a big regret of mine. Like I wish I would have just slowed down instead of stopping altogether, but I did stop altogether, and I got back into it in 2023. And I'm very happy to be able. I made 1,147 videos last year in 2025, and I love every one of them.
that's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, one of my best friends actually went to. I live in Michigan. One of my best buds went to Michigan State Film School, and he's very passionate about filmmaking. So I kind of he was a heavy influence in me getting into this as well because it definitely we're always talking about art and all these different things, and it's just like there's never you're never going to make the perfect thing, so just jump into it. Get your feet wet. Once you start, you can start making it better and things, right?
Yeah.
Um, but another question I had for you was, so do you recall a specific pocket knife that kind of got you sucked into the hobby of EDC and the knife world?
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. So before I bought this knife, my go-to EDC was a SOG Trident. I had the SOG Trident, which is an assisted opening knife. Really loved it, and I started kind of perusing knife. Was it Knife Hub, or no, not Knife Hub? One of the subreddits on Reddit,
Gotcha.
and I saw the Benchmade 940. I was like, dang, dude, I really like the way the 940 looks. And I happened to be graduating college around that time, and my mother-in-law gave me a gift card, and I spent that gift card buying the Benchmade 940. And I was like, this is the last pocket knife I'm ever gonna buy. Instead of being the last pocket knife, it was actually the first pocket knife in my American made knife collection. That knife started me collecting American made pocket knives, which eventually led me to opening Lone Star Knife and Supply.
Very cool. Very cool. So, do you have like a personal Mount Rushmore of like maybe brands or some companies or like that you are very like passionate about that you like a lot? Maybe for you, like I said, your personal maybe top four Mount Rushmore of American made.
Ooh, top 4. That's actually kinda hard. I I will tell you my number 1 by far is Tactile Knife Company.
Okay.
They're a Texas-made knife company, and they're actually based out of Dallas, about 30 minutes south of where I live, and I get to go to their shop on a regular basis, and they make a lot of really great knives. They make the Archer, which is my number 1 favorite knife of all time. They make the Rockwall Flipper, which is an award-winning knife.
I
They
love
make the
that knife.
Mariner 2. Yeah. Um, so they're definitely, like, they're my number 1. I would say probably my number 2, and I know they're controversial in today's EDC world, but I love Benchmade. Benchmade is they were founded in 1987, and they are one of the pillars of the knife community today. So I'd say
Absolutely.
Benchmade. Um, and I would have a hard time with doing like a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 like that. Um, But, like, personally, like, some of my favorite knives, like, my favorite knife of 2025 was a ProTech. It was the
Okay.
ProTech, Mordax, and actually today, I got the ProTech Avalon.
That's cool.
The b Yeah, dude, it's a 4-inch 4 and a quarter inch, I believe, and I freaking love this knife. It is really, really nice. Obviously, Spyderco is awesome. I've met Sal Glesner, out of Golden, Colorado.
Very cool.
He was really
Speaking of,
inspirational. Mhm.
I'm carrying one of his designs right now.
Ah, the
Shaman.
Shaman.
Love that knife, man. Wife gifted it to me for Christmas. Big fan.
Dude, alright, bro, get this. Not to go off topic, but one of my followers, he actually got he got let go from his job, and he messaged me, and, he started watching my videos, and he didn't realize that there were so many knife companies based in America. So he heard me talking about Golden, Colorado Spydercos, and he was like, "Well, I need a job, and I live in Colorado. Let me see if I can get a job with Spyderco out of Golden, Colorado." And he got a job.
Very cool.
And he, started working there, and he was like, "Man, if it wasn't for Lone Star Knife and Supply, I wouldn't have the job here." And I put out a video the day he actually did his onboarding where I was talking to where the question was, if you could interview anyone from the EDC space, who would it be? And I said Sal Glesner. And he was like, "Oh my gosh, dude, I need to get Chris one of Sal's knives." And he didn't know how at the time, but turns out Sal was starting to retire. He's been waiting to retire for a long time. And in 2025, he started auctioning off some of his knives to the employees.
Oh,
And I now have a Buck 110 that Sal
wow.
personally carried for years.
That is
It's part of
awesome.
Yeah, dude, it's so cool. It is so cool. This is such a small space, and so many of us like touch each other in ways that we don't realize.
Dude, totally. Absolutely. And that is such a cool piece of knife history right there. That is very cool. And it's
Hmm.
always one of those things where it's like, you wonder what somebody like Sal Glesser, who designed such an awesome knife, you wonder what he carries in his pocket. And what a cool thing to be able to own a piece of that. That's very cool.
Hey, but I don't want to shortchange you. I'm going to give you an answer for number 4.
Okay.
Um, I gave you a soft 3. My soft 4 is TRM knives,
Okay.
Three Rivers Manufacturing. I love the Atom, I love the Neutron, but what I really love about TRM Knives is their owner, their co-founder and their co-CEO, Marianne.
Okay.
Marianne, I get to interact with her. We have phone calls like once a month or so. We email back and forth, and she is one of the best people in the EDC space. As a matter of fact, she's met my daughter, she's met my son, and she's like, "Hey Chris, I'm coming to Dallas. I want to meet up with you. I want to hang out. I want to come where to your studio." She asks about my daughter all the time. She's
Very
just such
cool.
a good person. And they make American made knives in Massachusetts with
Right.
unbelievable tolerances, and they make just great knives, and she's a great person.
And honestly, a big shout out to them as well because one thing I will say about them is if you don't know about TRM, they definitely do a lot of giving back to the community, and they definitely do a lot of I don't want to say sponsorships per se, but like they've been known to like sponsors people's milestone giveaways and things like that, which is just an awesome thing to do in the community that, nobody has to do those things, It just speaks to how good of people they got over there.
Yeah.
Um so another one I wanted to ask you, and I know we kind of touched on this a little bit at the beginning here. So what are some of your biggest influences from the art world, like for example, like music, film, books, etc., that you kind of take into your business, whether it be like, in terms of designing something for maybe your website or your social media, or in terms of maybe like how you do a day-to-day task. Like what are your biggest influences from the art world that kind of transfers over to you, would you say?
What a great question. I love that.
Thank you.
Um, there's 3 so 2 kind of spheres immediately come to mind. I'm a huge music fan. I love music, and I feel like music, kinda sometimes reflects back, like, how we feel ourselves.
Totally.
There are 2 artists that I really resonate with, and I feel like both of these artists are successful because they're able to convey core emotional like beats, things that we all experience.
Sure.
And those 2 artists are Juice World and
Okay.
Taylor Swift.
Okay.
Um, Juice World and Taylor Swift are my 2 favorite artists, and they seem like different, like 2 different types of music, but really it's the same music. They're artists that can really convey like just the human experience in a really good way. And from a different sphere, another artist that I really resonate with is Stephen Colbert.
Okay.
Um, Stephen Colbert is an American comedian who talks about current events, but he's able to combine reality with levity.
Totally.
And I think both like Stephen Colbert's approach, where you combine levity with reality, excuse me, and Juice World and Taylor Swift, where you're just trying to convey real truth about who you are, how you feel. Like those are like that's what I try to do. I don't try to like I really love what I do, and I try
Absolutely.
to convey why I love what I do in a way that other people can feel. And also, like, I like to have fun. I like to convey that fun to in my videos.
Absolutely. And I think you really do a good job of that. I think you bring a lot of positive energy to your videos. It's like, when you stop by, when you're scrolling and you scroll on one of your reels, you know what I mean? I think that it's like definitely leaves you with, like, a good feeling, you know what I mean? And that's, like, a thing that can be hard to do, especially in today's world, like, we're so encompassed with all these, like, negative news stories and, like, all this crazy press, It's nice to, like, see something and, like, with a positive outlook, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so what would you say are some of your favorite, blade steels over the years?
What a fun question. I I have a lot of opinions about this. Uh, and I will say, typically when people ask me what my favorite blade steel is, my go-to answer is not Magna Cut.
Okay,
Just not Magna Cut. Like, I like Magna Cut. It's a great steel. And most knives today, most premium knives are Magna Cut. And there's a reason for that. And it's not because it's the best steel. It's because that's the thing consumers want.
sure,
And it is scary when an industry does not do what is best, but they follow instead what the consumers are asking for. And that's a recipe for stagnation.
sure.
20 CV, S35VN, like M390. Like there's tons and tons of great blade steels that aren't Magna Cut. But what we see time and time again are when a knife company puts out, like, I'll give you an example. TRM. I brought up TRM earlier. They had a run of a number of their knives, their Adams, and it was 20 CV. And this was a Mike Erie custom ground blade. So it had a really nice blade, and it was 20 CV. And people were like, "Oh man, I wish it was Magna Cut." Why do you wish it was Magna Cut? Like, what do you think? Like, what do you think Magna Cut's going to do that 20 CV is not going to do? Um, and literally, people were like not buying this hollow ground, really nice blade because it wasn't Magna Cut. And that just makes me sad.
Yeah, I feel like man, there's so it's like nowadays it's like such a hot button issue almost like blade steels, you know? There's so many different varieties and so many different options, whether you're talking high end or you're talking budget options, you know? And there's just so many different options and I just like to kind of hear what people really like. But like you were saying, it really seems that a lot of things are sure getting made in Magna Cut now. Um, but
Yeah. And now we're getting Magnamax.
okay,
Magnamax.
I haven't got to experience Vanex yet, but that's something I would like to check out. But I don't know, you know what I mean? It's something you hear that sounds great, but it's like until you get your hands on it, you really don't know.
Yep.
Um, so what would you say are a few major passions of yours outside of the knife world?
I mean, this might seem like stereotypical, but um, I love being a father. I love being a dad. There's nothing like, if I could quit my day job and like run an orphanage, I would do that. Like I love being able to affect the next generation of adults while they're kids. Um, I work in finance, and one of the privileges of getting to work in the type of job I currently do is I get to do financial literacy training where I go into schools and teach basic financial literacy. And hearing from kids, hearing from teachers is really great. My kids are they span 7 to 13 to 16. They're amazing human beings. And my 16-year-old is he's not quite 16. He turns 16 next month, and
Very cool.
we've been teaching him how to drive for the last year. And dude, he's like a better driver than I am. And my daughter, she's 13, and she helps me so much with the business. She's gone to blade shows with me. She's helped film interviews with makers. She's helped me fulfill orders and build boxes and put goodie bags together. She's amazing. And then my 7-year-old is just a wild animal of a human being. He's a free spirit, and all my kids are so special. And if I could have 6 kids, I would.
Totally. Totally. No, I got 2 myself, and it's definitely such a blessing, man, to just, like, get to come home and get some big hugs from people that generally just are happy to see you, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Hey, Shay, I'm gonna close my door real.
so, we kinda touched on this a little bit, so I wanted to say, how long have you been collecting, and then do you collect other things outside of knives? Like, I know a lot of guys in the EDC world also collect, like, coins or pens or hanks or flashlights or things like that. Is there anything outside of knives that you also collect?
Yeah, yeah. It's funny you didn't bring up firearms. Typically, that's one of the ones where people are like, "Do you collect guns too?" And no, absolutely not. I am not responsible enough to keep up with firearms. I am not responsible enough for that. What I do like are machined pins.
Very cool.
I I love machined pens. I write a lot. At work, I write every day, all day. And then at Lone Star Knife and Supply, I write thank you note to everybody. And I've got a number of really cool pins that I use. And I
Oh
just
wow,
think it's
very
really
cool.
fun. Yeah, I think it's really fun to have a nice writing instrument to write with. So machined pins and pocket knives, those are the two things that I've spent enormous amounts of money collecting.
Very cool. Right on. Yeah, and like I said, I know that a lot of people in the EDC world often collect, not just one thing. So,
Mhm.
one thing I like to ask as well. Um, so kind of going back into the business side of things a little more. So when you first conceptualized your vision of Lone Star Knife and Supply, does it now look the way that you essentially envisioned it in the first place, or is it wildly different? I know that oftentimes when we conceptualize something versus when it hits the pavement running can often be two wildly, drastically different things, right? So
Yeah.
I just wanted to kind of ask, like, so when you first conceptualized your vision, right, does it kind of look the way that you did envision it, or has it evolved a little bit? Have you had to roll with some punches?
Man, brother, it's exactly what I wanted. It's
Awesome.
exactly what I wanted. Um, when so in 2021, 2022, I was collecting pocket knives, and I love American-made pocket knives. It's a passion of mine. That's what I collected, and I was frustrated. Every time I would go, like, explore a website, I would have to filter, and I'd have to figure out how do I find the American-made pocket knives? And I followed lots of social media influencers in this space, and I didn't hear anybody advocating for American-made pocket knives. And I didn't know what new American-made stuff was coming out. I didn't know. And in 2023, I was like, dude, let's just do it. Let's just open a knife store that exclusively carries American-made pocket knives. And not just a couple. Our goal is to be the premier place on the internet. If someone wants to buy an American-made pocket knife, that's the place you go to buy any American-made pocket knife. And that was the goal.
Very cool.
And like I don't want to say we achieved that goal because we're not there yet. But, if you want to buy a Benchmade, a Spyderco, a ProTech, a Microtech, a McNeese, Rivery Manufacturing, TRM knives, a Kershaw case, all of those knives you can buy at Lone Star Knife and Supply and many more.
Very cool. Very cool. So, what are a few, like, maybe your top 3, would you say, like, some of the best-selling EDC blades on, Lone Star Knife and Supply?
Oh, great question. Um, well, I just pulled this up recently. I was doing an end of the year video, and my number one best selling knife of 2025
Ah,
was the Rivery Zero.
very cool.
Yeah, we sold a lot. I mean, a lot of these Rivery Zeros. They're machined in Tennessee, in East Tennessee, by a dude literally with a team of just a couple people in his garage. They are held together with precision engineering, machining. There are no fasteners, just magnets and magic and really, really good tolerances. And that was by far the best selling item of 2025. And our best selling brand was Tactile Knife Company.
Very cool.
It's my favorite brand. And lo and behold, I talk about them a lot. And they were our highest revenue vendor that we worked with in 2025.
Very cool. Very cool, and they do have some awesome models, man, and I've seen, like, quite a few. I haven't had the chance to add one to my collection yet, but I definitely would like a rock wall flipper. That's coming to the collection one day. Um, so kind of taking a different direction, when you're, like, sitting working on a project, maybe editing, maybe, writing, maybe doing some stuff like that, what's something that you like to listen to? Are you a podcast guy? Are you an album guy? Are you a stand-up comedy guy? What would you be listening to if you're sitting out grinding a project?
Nothing.
Nothing?
I zone in.
Okay,
I
cool.
if I am editing, I'm doing anything creative, I go in 100%, and honestly, like, anything will distract me. So, if I'm listening to music, I'll be thinking about the music versus the work I'm doing. And like, I really like editing. I like when I'm editing my website, when I'm making new listings. Like, I genuinely enjoy that stuff. It's monotonous and tedious, but it's fun. Like, I'm choosing to do that. Um, so I typically don't have anything like, it's silent in here
Right.
other than what's going on in my mind.
Very cool.
Occasionally, I will like, if I'm doing something where I'm not being creative and I'm doing something kind of like routine. Lately, I've been listening to a podcast called Dignation.
Okay.
Dignation is Kevin Rose and Alex Albrecht. They had a podcast years ago, and they rebooted it recently. So I've been listening to that.
Okay. Very cool. Um, so how did it feel to you when you officially made your first sale? When, like I said, when you kind of hit the ground running and you got your first sale on the books, can you recall kind of how that made you feel?
No, I can't. I don't really remember. But what I do remember is when I hit my first 100, for my second 100 orders. So when I hit 200 orders, it was my second batch of 100 orders. My first 100 orders took me 430 something days.
Okay.
Okay. So I started Lone Star Knife and Supply, started getting couple orders, hit 100 orders, and that span of time was 400 days. And then my next 100 orders took less than 30 days.
That's crazy. That's very, very good growth.
And one of the things I've been doing is, like, every couple hundred orders, I will post videos encouraging people not to give up with their small business or their online exploits, whatever those are. Because, it literally took me over a year to get my first 100 orders, and then I did like 1,400 orders in like less than a year.
Wow.
Like, you
Wow.
just gotta sometimes you just have to do the work. You have to get people to know who you are. It takes time to build relationships with business
Absolutely.
partners. Like, it takes time.
Absolutely. So when you first started your journey, on Lone Star Knife and Supply, what would you say was one piece of advice that somebody gave you that really kind of stuck with you and resonated with you?
Humans love gratification. And the best way to keep yourself motivated is by setting small goals and celebrating those small wins. Um, you know, if your only goal is the biggest goal that you can think of, you're probably going to be disappointed a lot of the times.
Wise
So I
words.
like to keep myself grounded. Do I?
It's a wise, very wise words.
Yeah. I like to keep myself grounded with small goals, and some small goals were hitting all 50 states. Like I want to sell knives in every state in the union. And I did that, and that felt like such a big deal. I wanted to hit
Very cool.
1,000 orders, hit that. And then just every 100 orders, I would make videos where I talked about the pace, how long it took me, and getting to see that number decrease over time. Like, those are small achievable victories that feel good, and I really
Absolutely.
enjoyed it.
Absolutely. So, how would you say social media has helped you, and how would you say it's been kind of a pain in the butt?
Mm, Social media is interesting because I think a lot of people have a really bad understanding of social media because we see the Kim Kardashians of the world with millions of followers, and you know, like that is somehow like success. And what like I think going back to the last question, I've always set my goals fairly low. If I put out a video and someone buys something from that video, wow, man, what a success. Um, I get 300 views on a video, but someone learned about the brand and went to my website and bought something. That's a wild success. Like that is
Absolutely.
unbelievable. And that's what kept me going, making 3 videos a day for an entire year, over 1,000 videos in 2025, was because every time I post a video, I'd get sales. And I think that's really the truly powerful thing of social media. If you can figure out how to optimize your SEO where the right people are seeing your content, and you can figure out how to make each video a little bit different to pique the curiosity of people, and you're able to make sales, who cares how many people watched it? Did you generate business from that video? And if you did, that is a wild success in my opinion.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and I think that's a really good way to look at it as well, you know what I mean? I think, a lot of people get too caught up in, like, kind of the view aspect, "Oh, it didn't get enough views. Oh, it didn't, perform, didn't get enough clicks," but it's like you're saying, it's if you're getting generating a sale from the one video, that's ultimately a huge success, Absolutely. Um, so kind of going in a little different direction, with all the recent innovations in the knife world, whether it be locking mechanisms, um, things like that, maybe blade steels, things like that, what have been a few more so modern features that you really enjoy, and what have been like a few that you don't enjoy?
Hmm. Hmm. Oh, that's a good question.
And I know
Uh,
that's kind of like a very broad question, but there has
yeah.
been, like, a lot of innovation as of late, whether it be, like, things like, the, uh, the Vancor lock from Vosteed, which, I know is an American company, but, or
I,
the
I do
frame
have an
lock.
answer for you. Yeah, I got an answer for you. Um, this isn't too modern, but the idea that you can draw a general outline of what you think a knife would be, like a cool knife would be, on the back of a napkin, and have a knife maker make that thing. Um, that is a little bit of an exaggeration. Oftentimes is significantly more complicated than that,
Right.
but it has gotten more and more and more easy for someone to be a knife designer. And while I love that, if you're a knife designer, like kudos to you, like your life has gotten easier and easier. But the thing that I worry about is one, I don't trust these companies that you're selling your designs to. Like I don't trust that they have your best interest at heart, and that I don't think they have like America's best interests at heart. Um, if they make your knife with a cool design aspect, I don't think they're going to hold off on adding that feature or aspect of a knife design to other knives. They're not going to be like, well, Jimmy made this design, and we want to respect Jimmy's design. We're not going to put this in any other knife. I don't feel like that's the case. I feel like your idea is going to be replicated over and over because they are going to just use your idea.
Sure.
So I would say that that concerns me. The other thing that concerns me about and this is kind of taking your question in a slightly different way,
Oh, that's okay.
um, but one of the things that worry me about the current knife market is there's a big division between people who think that real custom knife making is forging a blade from, you know, steel, heating it, shaping it, heat treating it. Like that's real knife making versus people who use CNC to make knives. There is a huge divide, and I talk to makers on both sides a lot,
Absolutely.
and they disagree with each other heavily. And I'm personally on the side of like I recently had a phone call with somebody who I work with, and they were like, "We don't do that push button knife making." Like, bro, you think CNC is pushing a button? Like it. I would love to get John Grimsmo on the phone to tell you how much more difficult it is than just pushing a button.
Right,
Um,
right.
like we run into this all the time when new technologies can come up and potentially surpass previous versions of how we did things. And I don't think regular knife making is going away, but CNC is just as artistic, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Using modern technologies to make knives can be more efficient, can be more cost effective, and be more precise, more replicatable. Like there's lots of value in using technology for knife making. But I own hand forged knives. They're pretty cool, man.
Right.
Like knowing that blood, sweat, and tears went in to making that, like that's a cool thing. Like they're both cool and they can both exist simultaneously, in
No,
my
I
opinion.
totally agree. And I've myself I actually did an interview with Aries EDC. He is a stock removal knife maker, and he makes some beautiful pieces as well. But again, just another vein, right? Of like there's so many different veins of knife making, you know. And
Hmm.
like you said, I think that's a great way to lay it out there, right? Like everybody can definitely coexist. There's space for everyone, you know what I mean? There's a market for everybody. I definitely agree with you on that. Um so another one I had for you, I wanted to know, so can you recall a moment that when you first started out with maybe in regards to when you first started Lone Star Knife and Supply, um, that kind of made you feel like you were on the right path or moving in the right direction, that kind of reinforced you starting, that really drove that feeling home?
Yeah, it was Blade Show Atlanta 2025. Uh, so Blade Show Texas 2025. I went and I felt like a fish out of water. I'd never been to a Blade Show before, and I went with my son. And I had started this, knife store, and like we were struggling to get sales, and we were still. I think I can't remember if at Blade Show Texas we were still in that first 100. I think we were still in the first 100 orders, and it was just taking forever. I wasn't making progress. But I've never been scared to talk to people.
Right.
So, man, I walked up to everybody and I was like, "Hey, let's do an interview. I own a knife store." And we we did lots of interviews at Blade Show Texas, and it was really cool. And that was actually one of the kind of like first big pops for the store. Like we had a lot of sales after that. People saw videos and they came to the store, they bought stuff. But Blade Show Atlanta, that was a whole different story. I went with my daughter, and people kept on coming up, recognizing Lone Star Knife and Splay. Hey, Lone Star! Hey, what's up, brother? And my daughter literally was like, "Dad, you're like a celebrity." And I'm like, "No, I do. I'm in a niche, and we're at a niche
Right.
conference.
Right.
So like, yeah, like more people from this niche are gonna know me here. Like, and then she also got to see like me go up to makers, like the literal CEOs of these knife companies, and they're like, "Hey, Chris, good to see you." And my daughter was just like, she was like dumbfounded. She's like, "How do all these people know you?" And to me, that was the moment where I was like, wow, if my daughter's impressed, who cares if I fail? Like I've already won.
That's an
Like
awesome moment, man.
my daughter thinks I'm cool. My daughter thinks I'm a success. I couldn't care if I ever make $1 from this. It was worth it getting to see her think that her dad's cool.
Very cool. That's very cool. Um, yeah, man. So I wanted to ask you another one, a little different, make you think a little bit. Um, so what do you say you enjoy more, collecting or selling?
Wow. Okay. With with collecting, there's two kind of veins. With a lot of collector spaces, there's people who really just enjoy the dopamine hit of buying something new,
Sure,
right? Like getting that new, they get that dopamine hit. It's really about the chase, right? Like they
absolutely.
like
The thrill of the
finding the
hunt.
thing, the thrill of the hunt. That's exactly it. I've never been that way. I don't like the acquisition never really got me. I like owning the thing and keeping the thing and making a collection. Like I got the Avalon today, like I said. I'm one of the first 100 people in the world to have this, and that's cool, but, like, I don't feel like the thing that's cool about it is now this is part of my collection, and I get to experience this whenever I want it, you know?
Sure.
Not like, FedEx delivered it, and I got to open it, and, like, now, "Oh my gosh, the dopamine from that." The dopamine for me is it being something that I have forever, and I think one of the ways you can tell is, do you still get excited for a thing after you've had it for a month, 6 months, a year, 2 years? And my knives do make me feel that way. Like I love my knife collection. And with selling knives, I do these things where I do boxing up videos
Oh, I love those.
where dude, me too. I get excited for other people because they're getting this knife. Because I'm not thinking like this is now part of their collection and I love it. I love it. I love putting American made knives in people's hands and like because I know the people who make these knives. I know the stories behind these knives. I know how hard it is to manufacture things in America. There's so much competition. There's so much headwinds, and the fact that this person chose to buy this knife is really cool. And I get really excited. And it's just really, it's very rewarding. Um, it's rewarding because I get messages from people all the time who are like, I didn't even realize where knives were made until you. And, like, that's cool. Like, they didn't think about this. And, regular people aren't like, I wonder where my commodity is produced, right? Like, it's
Right.
just, um, but because it's something I care about, I talk about it, and then other people care about it. And that's really, really cool. I also get people who are like, hey, I was going to buy XYZ, something made abroad, but I saw your video about this knife and I bought it. And to me, that is a net win for America because money would have gone to a foreign-owned company paying taxes in another country. And instead, that money stayed domestic. It went to American families, an American business owner. And, to me, like, there's not a lot I can do. Like, I'm just a, regular dude. There's not much I can do to make America better. But when I have those small victories where I convince somebody to keep their money domestically, that's about as much as I can do to make our country better.
Sure. And I think that's a very noble cause too, you know what I mean? And it's like you're saying, right, it's like keeping it all here, right? Keeping the money here and keeping the sale here and everything. Like, I feel like it's definitely a thing that is more so a thing of the past, right? And I think that it's definitely very cool to be able to go right on your website and know for certain anything you're grabbing is USA made. I think that's really cool. Um,
Can I just speak to that real quick, Shay?
Absolutely.
I am not a zealot. Okay. You know, a lot of the people who are listening to this, I think it's important just to say, like, I own tons of things not made in America. Like, you know, my DJI Mic Mini that I'm using, you know, my computer, my phone, my keyboard, my mouse. These are things that are phenomenal pieces of consumer goods that are made abroad. And there's not really an American version of those.
Sure.
And I think that's where a lot of us lose the script, right? Like we don't get to decide where our keyboards are from. We don't get to decide where our cameras, our cell phones, we don't get to decide where that stuff is made. But there are a few industries in America where they have a robust production. And American pocket knives are one of those things where we have a robust industry for producing pocket knives. Like we just make them. This shirt, this shirt, um, this hat, these are made in America. We have a strong apparel manufacturing ecosystem. Not very much is made in America, but there are options that are made in America. And I think that's where us as consumers have to realize we don't get to choose very much of where things are produced, but there are certain goods where we do have a choice. And you get to decide with your dollars where you're voting. Do you want to vote for the thing that's made overseas, or do you want to vote for the thing that's made here? So, you know, it's not everything, but there
Right.
are certain things that I think make a big difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, so kind of moving in a little bit more abstract direction. Um, so if you could work with anybody in history to collaborate on a project, whether it be to design something or what have you, who would you choose to work with? Could be any person throughout history. Like I said, it's kind of an abstract one, but I like to ask. I like to ask that one just for a different change of pace.
Okay, this is like kind of like a little bit of a jokey answer, but it actually is an answer. Okay, and I already pitched this to this man. Uh, but Dave, the founder of ProTech,
Okay.
I've met him a number of times. We've had some great conversations, and I told him, I was like, "Hey, man, we need to make a knife together because I want to call it the ProTech Protex because I'm from Texas.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Protex.
Very cool.
That's all I have so far is a name, the
I
Protex.
dig it.
Um, but you know, I would love to be able to make that come to life one day.
Very cool.
I would also, you know, I would love to do something with, not necessarily design something with, but even if it's just like buying one of his knives, Bob Trezula,
Okay.
dude, he has been responsible for some amazing designs. The Mariner 2
Oh yeah. The
is
Marchione collaboration Lightfoot. Oh man, that's a pretty one.
Yep. And I love watching Bob Trezula on his videos. His wife will record him, and he's just such a cute man. You know, he's old, you know, and like he's not making knives because he has to. Like it's his passion.
Right.
He loves it, and I would love to be able to support him. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. So taking it back to a little more personal, so what are maybe would you say your personal top three most carried or rotated EDC pocket knives in your collection? Or at least what
Hmm.
three are you rotating the most right now?
Okay, like right now, uh, Protect Mordax. I got that at Blade Show West. I love my Mordax. My personal one is green with a geometric pattern, and it's just beautiful, great action.
Okay.
The Archer is 100% my favorite knife for years. is designed by TJ Schwartz and then brought to life by Tactile Knife Company. Just phenomenal. Sold a ton of archers at Lone Star Knife and Supply. And I'll show you my number three. I've got it right here. I've got my bag right here. It's my sling that I have with me every day. And this guy right here is my favorite fixed blade. And this is the Northwest Lynch Blades Sparrow 7.
Very cool.
And it's with me every day. And I don't need it or use it every day, but it's with me every single day. We are a dealer with Lynch Northwest, and Casey actually sent me this one when they were about to have this knife come out. He sent it to me because he wanted to get my opinions.
Very
And
cool.
like, I was like, dude, why would anybody want my opinions? I'm an idiot. And so not only do I love the knife, I love the reason why I own it. It just makes me feel good.
Very cool. Yeah, I was actually seeing, I was looking on Lone Star Knife and Supply the other day. I seen a couple of your guys' exclusive Lone Star Northwest Lynch clips. Very
Yeah,
cool. Very cool.
yeah.
Uh,
Can I
so,
say something about that real
oh
quick?
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Dude, we were at wow, it was a Blade Show Atlanta. I believe it was Blade Show Atlanta. And me and Casey from Lynch Northwest, we were chatting back and forth before the show, not about the show, just in general. And I had said, hey man, we're gonna both be at the show. Let's do an interview. And he was like, hell yeah, brother, let's do it. So I go to the show and I go over, and he's surrounded by um, young people. Some of them are his kids, and just he's got this really great staff around him. And I'm like, all right, Casey, let's do this. Here's how the interview is going to flow. These are the general places I'm going to take the questions. And I interviewed him, and the feedback was, Chris, did you know you're the first person to ever interview him? I'm like, no
Very cool.
way. And he's like, and people were like, yeah, Casey doesn't do interviews with people. He doesn't do that. And I was like, that's crazy. Because I mean, he's awesome. Casey is amazing, and he's so passionate about American manufacturing and what he does and the people he does it with. Um, and it was just really cool to get to share Casey with the world through that interview.
Right. Very cool. Very, very cool. Um, so one thing I wanted to ask you, um, so when you're feeling stuck on a project, like you're working on something, maybe you feel like you hit a snag or something like that. What's one thing that you like to do to maybe like work through it or get past it when you're feeling like stuck or feeling like maybe you need a breath of fresh air or something? What's something that you like to do to regather your bearings kind of and get through
Have a margarita.
it?
Honestly, dude, I I'll be honest with you, Jay. This is such a joy to do that um, a lot of times in my life, something hard will come up, and my retreat will be Lone Star Knife and Supply. Like I never feel like this is work ever. Like it is a joy to do, and this is my hobby, and very few of us ever get to make money off of a hobby. Very few of us ever get to um, be rewarded for prioritizing our hobby over other responsibilities. But the truth is, this is my like this is my passion. I love what I do, and I after years of doing this, I don't feel that way. I'll have, maybe I need to step away for a second and just, gather my thoughts. But I never feel like I need to do something else to get past a negative feeling generated from my business. I'm just really lucky.
Very cool. I think that's a very refreshing take for sure. I think sometimes we all can get caught up in the negative aspect so much. I think it's really refreshing to hear that for sure. So kind of taking a different turn, who would you say are personally some of your favorite artists, whether it be like maybe bands or directors or actors or writers? Who are some artists that you really resonate with and you like a lot? I know you kind of touched on Taylor Swift and you kind of touched on Juice World. Anybody else like in other medias that you really like?
Yeah, yeah. I like a lot of like I think art is super important.
Absolutely.
My I think America, we've gotten so focused on business that a lot of times we forget the joys of life sometimes are in art. And art can be anything like our mutual friend Justin, Titanium Justin, who makes content in the EDC sphere. He's an artist.
Yep.
Like like that is who he is. He is an artist. And there's a little director named James Cameron you may have heard of
Oh yeah.
before.
Oh yeah.
But he actually has an amazing story. James Cameron, I won't go into the whole thing here out of fear of messing it up, but the James Cameron story, I've heard it a number of times, and essentially he had a dream of making a movie, Terminator, and he was able to make it happen through sheer determination and having courage in himself. He had no directing experience. He had no reason why anyone would greenlight his project, but out of sheer determination and perseverance, he was able to get uh, a Terminator made.
Very cool.
And he, time and time again, was able to have his personal goals and aspirations married with his professional success. He really wanted to explore the
Okay.
Marianas Trench, and could not figure out how to make it happen. And then through happenstance, he had an opportunity to make a Titanic movie, and he was able to develop the technology to explore the Titanic wreckage and fulfill his dream of being able to do underwater exploration and make the Titanic movie, which ended up being one of the most successful movies of all time,
Right.
which he only did because he had a secondary aspiration of exploring the ocean. Like he's just a really inspirational person when you like learn about him as an individual. And I think he's cool because he never gave up on what his true passions are. He found a way to marry his aspirations with what is in front of him today. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. Very cool story for sure. And it's funny you bring that up. My wife is a very, very big Bill Paxton fan, and he was the one who did the documentary with James Cameron, The Ghosts of the Titanic, which is an awesome documentary about some like behind the scenes stuff and more so about the actual like crew that like did the um, research, like you were saying, with the actual Mariana Trench and everything like that. Um,
Mhm.
but speaking to the business side of things, so was there any lessons maybe that you learned the hard way?
Mm, one of this is like not a major thing, but it is one clear lesson that I learned, and I learned hard, and I learned quick. People will take free things every time. Uh,
Very
so
true.
I obviously I sell pocket knives, And one of the things I love to do, I'm a big lanyard fan. I love lanyards on knives. So, uh, I tie lanyards. I think they add utility. I think they make your knife stand out from other people's knives. Um, I just think it's a fun little creative thing you can add to your knife. And when I first started, I offered lanyards for free. You buy a knife from me, I tie a lanyard on your knife. All you gotta do is tell me what you want. Well, a YouTuber bought a knife from me, and he was like, "Hey, brother, I'm gonna do a video, about this." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so great!" And literally in the video, I tied a nice little lanyard for him on his knife, and the video didn't have a lanyard. And he said something like a one line. He's like, "Yeah, and even these knives even come with lanyards, but obviously I didn't want a lanyard, so I took the lanyard off as soon as I got it." Bro, what? Bro, you why, why did you have me tie that lanyard if you didn't want it? It was because it was free.
Right.
It was because it was free. So literally the next day, I went in and I changed it up where it cost $5, which, if you want a lanyard, $5 is a pretty good deal,
Right.
right? Like that's a pretty good deal. And I have made so much money on lanyards. It's not every order, but well over half of all the orders, they ask me to tie a lanyard. And then later, I figured out, well, hey, I should have titanium beads, aluminum beads, copper beads, brass
Right.
beads. So I've got little beads available as well. So when
Very
people
cool.
place their order, they can pick the lanyard color, they can pick the bead, and that is a way for your knife to be unique, customized, and it's fun for me. I enjoy customizing a knife to make your knife special. I think it's cool.
Absolutely.
But now it's only for people who actually want it
Right.
because that did not feel good
No, that
working that
definitely
hard.
sounds like a lesson that may have been learned the hard way for sure. Um,
Yeah.
so kind of moving more along the abstract direction again. If you won a free trip to anywhere in the world for 3 nights and 3 days, where would you go?
3 nights, 3 days, anywhere in the world. Um, how many tickets do I have?
You and your family. So, however, like 4, 5, 6, whatever it is. You know what I mean? If you wanted to just got to take your family up for a free vacation for a couple days, where would you go?
If I all of a sudden got to take my kids anywhere in the world, I would want to go show them the redwoods
Oh, very cool.
in Northwest America. Um, Go the giant redwoods is something I've always wanted to see. And from what other people have told me, is it's a very humbling experience being around things that are so ginormous,
Right.
gigantic. And I would love to see that, and I think it'd be really cool for my kids to see.
Very cool. I like to throw that one in there. Like I said, a little more abstract, but um,
What about you, Shay?
man, I would probably say Japan. I really like Japan. I think it's a very cool culture. I like the old ancient history. I think there's a lot of really cool places like off the beaten path that are like just whether it be like temples or like monuments, just like trails. I think it's some of the most beautiful scenery that I've seen in pictures. That's
Have you been
definitely
before?
no, I've never been. That's definitely a place I
Dude,
would definitely like to go. We had some friends, from my wife's work. They just got back a couple months ago, and they have been raving about it ever since. It's definitely one that, tops the list for me for sure in terms of international.
me and
Uh,
my son are about to go.
Very cool, very cool.
Yeah. Years ago, he's 16, so years ago, he was talking about he was like, man, Japan seems like really cool. I was like, dude, I'll take you when you graduate high school. I was just, like,
Yeah,
and he was like, done deal. Let's
right.
do it. And he never forgot. He brings it up all the time. And like 2 years ago, I realized I'm like, dang, that's in like 4 years. And now he's next year he'll be a junior. So we will literally be 2 years away from going to Japan.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Uh,
Hmm.
so going back to going back to the pocket knife side of things, do you have a favorite blade shape of yours?
Tonto.
Tanto? Very cool. That's
Yeah.
one of my favorites as well, for sure. Do you like an
Mhm.
American Tanto or a Japanese Tanto better?
American.
American? Very cool.
Uh like yeah. I mean, I can't think of a modern pocket knife that incorporates a traditional Japanese tanto into their blade.
I can't think of one either, not off the top of my head. I can only think of Concept, which is Chinese company, I believe. Uh,
Yeah.
so, what are 5 pieces of gear that you can't live without that are essential to you, whether it be content creation or whether it be for the business side of things? What do you think are 5 pieces of gear that you can't live without?
I mean, number one has to be my phone. Good Lord, man. My iPhone is the most crucial piece of gear, bar none. Um, like, I feel like I would have a hard time explaining to someone in the past how magical an iPhone is. Like, I can literally record a cinematic video from anywhere in the world and send it to everyone else in the world nearly instantly.
Very
Like,
cool.
that's crazy. Like,
I
that's
know.
wild.
What a concept, right?
Dude, what a concept. My DJI Mic Mini, good audio is so crucial. Some people say audio is more important than visuals, and just having good audio is really important. Having a pocket knife with me every day is absolutely vital. I have a pocket knife with me every day. And then pen and paper. I actually, my buddy Justin actually made me
Titanium
this.
Justin.
Yeah, man. He's a great guy. And I think a lot of value is had in getting ideas from up here into a place like this. I use I use digital stuff a lot, but it's just a different thing when you write things
I
down.
never leave the house without my pen and paper, my notebook and my pen, man. I tell you, they're very valuable tools.
Yep. So
Um,
that's kind of where my mind would be: phone, microphone, phone, or excuse me, phone, microphone, pocket knife, pen and paper.
Very cool. Um, so what would you say your favorite and your least favorite part about creating content would be?
My favorite would be the conversations that it creates. I love hearing contrary opinions that I didn't consider. You know, like,
Absolutely.
um, oh wow, I never actually thought about that. That's actually a really good point. I love that. Like, I love having my paradigm questioned and challenged. I think that's a vital part of the human experience, being open to the idea of what if you're wrong? Like, what
Absolutely.
if you're wrong? And I think the more of yourself that you put on the internet, the more you open yourself up to that potentiality. I might be wrong. I might not know what I'm talking about. And I think that's really cool. I think that is my favorite part of making content, is you just put part of yourself out there.
Absolutely.
And the part that I dislike the most, is the, like, red tape of the platforms. I just This weekend I had my largest social media account totally nuked. My largest account was on TikTok. I had over 15,000 followers, 6 million views over the last year. And that's where my portfolio of everything I'd ever made, over 1,000 videos, all of that was on TikTok. And I cross posted to a lot of other places, YouTube, Instagram, but no other place had everything and organized. I had playlists. Everything was organized into playlists, and all of that got taken away over the weekend. So that is by far my least favorite, is not being in control of my own stuff.
Yeah, I saw you had posted about that. And man, I tell you, it sure sometimes can be difficult for knife related content on some platforms, right? Because just like you were saying, the red tape, man. I've seen really good content creators get banned, and also I've seen this from a different world as well. I saw this in regards to skateboarding. I had seen that some big guys who were influencers in skateboarding got banned on TikTok because they said it's an unsafe sport, but it's Olympic sport. These guys are Olympic athletes, and you're blackballing them on a sizable part of their income because you deem their sport as unsafe. It sure can be a double edged sword sometimes, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so moving in a little different direction. Over the past few years, there has really been a lot of different exclusive offerings in terms of American knives, whether it be an exclusive blade steel for this retailer, maybe an exclusive color pattern or color scale for this retailer, so on and so forth. What have some of your favorite exclusive offerings been? Is there any off the top of your head that you can think of that were like, man, they really, really killed it?
That's a great question. You're doing a really good job with these questions.
Thank you. I
I
appreciate that.
obviously I care a lot about this question because many knife makers have asked me if I wanted to do an exclusive. And Chris, what type of exclusive would you want to do for X, Y, and Z? And my big thing is like I just talk about knives. I'm not a creative person. Like I'm not smart. I'm not like a designer. And um, what I've realized is that a lot of times the makers will just say, well, hey, we have this idea. Would you like this to be your exclusive? And I am like, oh, but that's not really what I always envisioned. So I don't have any exclusives of anything. I've chosen not to do any of that. Instead, what I have chosen to do is have a laser engraving of LS in a star for Lone Star, for certain knives, as a way of showing that they're from Lone Star Knife and Supply without bottlenecking the creativity of makers. Like, if you know a maker says, "Hey, you can have all of our pink knives." Well, now they are limited on how many pink knives they can produce based on your ability to buy those pink knives, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't really like that. Now I'll tell you the type of exclusives I do like are the ones that are patterns,
Okay.
where they come out with like a special pattern. And there's one knife store that I think of, and they have a very particular pattern. And they have gotten knife companies to incorporate that pattern into like the scales, and I think that's pretty cool because the knife maker would have never done that without the knife store. And I would be totally open if I came up with a cool idea like that. But like having like, all of our, green knives are sold through this maker, or something similar to that. I don't really like that. But if you come up with something that's like truly creative, I'm a fan.
Right on. Very cool. Yeah, I like a little different one there. So, what art styles inside of the EDC world really speaks to you personally? Is there anything recently that really you enjoyed? For me personally, I really like the cell shade from Heretic. I thought those were really cool, and I thought they did something that hasn't been done a million times very well.
These come out tomorrow.
Very cool.
This is called Shipwreck. Isn't
Very
that
cool.
cool? Hmm. Um, have you seen the Benchmade Loden?
I'm not quite sure off the top of my head. I know.
I would not be surprised if you hadn't,
Is,
bro.
is that the different looking one? I recall seeing a really different looking one that was
Yes.
like quite striking, but I
It's
didn't know the
a
name of it.
it's a flipper
Okay.
with a symmetric pattern or symmetric design. And to me, it's very reminiscent of like a mid-century modern aesthetic or a post-futuristic aesthetic.
Okay.
I think it looks really cool. Um, it's the first knife I've seen in a while where I'm like, wow, that design language looks different than everything else. It is truly unique. It has um, a DNA that is different than the DNA of other knives being made today. And I think Benchmade should go heavy into that. I think it's very cool to have things that look different. And,
Totally.
if you ever try to design a knife, it can be pretty difficult to make a knife that looks different than every other pocket knife.
Right.
So when Benchmade's able to do it as a flipper, I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I think now that you say that, when I first saw it, I believe I was thinking, wow, it looks like almost like a Benchmade meets Finch, but still different, if that was the one I was thinking of. But yeah, moving on. Uh, so what companies made it hard or difficult for you to stock them in your inventory? And what were some companies that made it very easy, or what were like the first companies? I know you spoke highly of Tactile, being down the road from you. Um, so what were some companies that were easy for you to have an inventory, and then what were some companies that made it maybe a little more difficult?
Let me just say one of the knife companies that it's been an unbelievable pleasure to work with. They make it so easy is McNeese Knives.
Oh, very cool.
Jonathan McNeese and Amy, his wife, who is really like the boss of everything. They are unbelievable. I've met them on a number of occasions at blade shows, and when I reached out to be a dealer with them, immediately said yes. They knew who I was, and they knew my mission of only carrying American-made knives. And they like sent me a little gift with my first order, and literally as much or as little as I've ever wanted to order, unbelievably supportive every step of the way. As a matter of fact, recently I had like a small concern, and I emailed Jonathan, and he immediately responded back like, "Hey, I hear you. Here's X, Y, and Z. I want you to know this. We care about what you think." And it's just like they truly care about their dealer network and do a really great job. And then, you brought up Tactile in the beginning, but they were my first dealer that ever said yes.
Very cool.
I got no, 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 no until Michael Miller at Tactile Knife Company said yes. He said, "Bro, we watch your TikToks, man. We think you're awesome. You love the Archer. We want you selling our products." And once they said yes, I was able to get other brands, other companies to also say yes.
Right.
And it's great. Now, you asked which ones are difficult. I'm not going to say any names, but there are a couple brands that are exceptionally quick to take my money and very slow to send me their knives.
Mm,
There are a couple brands where there's like a portal. You go on and you buy whatever you want to buy, and then they will piecemeal send you stuff maybe over a month, maybe 2 months. And it's like, oh my gosh, if I would have known what your production schedule was, I wouldn't have given you
yeah,
this
yeah.
much money.
I'm the
But you
head of
know,
receiving for a medical supply company, so I tell you, dealing with partial purchase orders is sometimes the bane of my existence. So I can imagine how it could get when they're, here's 2 at a time, here's 2 at a time. I could imagine.
it's crazy, man. Yeah.
Um, so I'll just wrapping up, I got a few more for you here. So what would be one piece of advice you would give your 21-year-old self if you could go back and give him one piece of advice?
You don't need to change yourself. You just be yourself and you know, make the things that you want to make. Be the person that you want to be around. At 21 is you don't need to change yourself. You are exactly who you need to be. And there are people who are looking to hear a voice just like yours. Um, and don't stop making content. Always loved being creative, making videos, and then I stopped cold turkey when I had kids, and I didn't start back until a decade later, and that is not good. I wish I would have not stopped. I wish I would have just kept going.
Right. No, absolutely. And sometimes a step away is good in regards of regrounding yourself, but sometimes it can derail um progress, right? So
Yeah.
it can be both. Um, and then if you were a pocket knife, what pocket knife would you be?
Hmm. If I was a pocket knife, what type of pocket knife? Oh, the reason I can't stop it is because those daggum notifications are in. We're in Instagram right now.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why it won't stop because I'm
Uh,
in Instagram
yeah,
right now.
I'm not
Okay.
picking them up on my end, so there's not
Oh, that's great.
buzzing or nothing. So,
That's great. It's like every like 10 seconds I'm getting another one. If I was a pocket knife, what pocket knife would I be? What is like an old pocket knife? Like I'm old. I feel old now. I like the my favorite pocket knife is the Archer. It is a frame lock flipper, and it's very few people's absolute favorite knife, but it's my favorite knife, and it doesn't need to be everyone's favorite knife. It just needs to be that one person's favorite knife, and I think that is true for a lot of us content creators. We don't need to be the content creator who satisfies everybody. We just need to be who we are. And so I would be a Tactile Knife Company Archer.
right on. I like that answer. Um, and then so as you grow and keep getting bigger on social media, what's one future goal for Lone Star Knife and Supply that you can see yourself tackling?
So my overall goal is for when people think I want to buy an American made knife, I want to go to Lone Star Knife and Supply, go to lonestarknife.com and I want to buy that knife. In order to do that, I have to carry the vast majority of American made knives. And, we've come a long way. If you go to our shop brands section, we have a lot of brands that we carry, but there's still a lot that we don't carry. And for the brands that we do carry, I don't have inventory of every single model all of the time. So that is one of my biggest goals is just to make sure that anytime someone wants an American made knife that's currently in production, that they can come to lonestarknife.com and buy that. And the other thing is, um, I want to foster young makers, small makers who are struggling to find a place to a voice to be able to sell their knives, a platform to be able to get the word out about their knives. I want people to be able to sell their knives at lonestarknife.com for an affordable rate. A lot of these knife stores are charging huge wholesale costs
Right.
to these smaller makers. It's like, why are you trying to make your money off of these small makers? Make your money off of like Benchmade, Spyderco, ProTech, like these companies, Microtech that are well established. Don't make your money off of a kid who's trying to live his dream. So I'm lucky to have a number of small makers who sell their knives at lonestarknife.com. And I really want to extend that. I want to continue growing and giving like knife makers a place where they can sell their knives without feeling like they're being taken advantage of.
Very cool. Very cool. And then, anything else about yourself or about Lone Star that we may not have touched on that you would like to put out there?
Um, I mean, look, Shay, I'll be honest with you. Um, one of the things I'm very passionate about is I go multiple times a year to these blade shows and I'm interviewing makers, you know, asking questions, preparing questions, asking questions. And in preparation for today's interview, I was like, Chris, don't do the thing where you start asking Shay a bunch of questions. And I'll tell you, man, it's been really hard because you seem like such an interesting guy.
I
Like, I
appreciate
want to
it.
know more about you.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
But
Man,
I
I just
didn't do it.
try to be
I
humble.
respected you.
Hey, I just try to be humble, man. I really appreciate you taking the time to stay with me. It really means a lot. I'm really, as I continue on my journey, I really enjoy having conversations with people, getting to pick people's brain, um, especially when it pertains to pocket knives. I've been a collector for a long time. Really enjoy the hobby, and I really enjoy sharing it with others that do too.
Can I ask you a question?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. You asked me earlier, like if I had like a Mount Rushmore, what would it be? Do you have like a go-to answer for what your Mount Rushmore would be?
Um, in terms of like companies, probably the one that really set me on fire was Microtech, specifically the Microtech LUT and the Microtech SOCOM. Those two really caught my eye. I have three SOCOMs in my collection. Um, I bought a couple LUTs for people because I really fell in love with them that hard. Um, but that Spyderco, I've got the pleasure of handling some 25-year-old Ken Onion design. Um, I had my uncle loaned it to me. It was a Kershaw offset, one knife of the year in 2005 from Ken Onion. Features a speed assist with the locking thumb stud. If you've never seen it, check out the video on my channel. It's one you don't see every day.
Okay.
But just getting to experience different pieces, different designers. Um, there's so much awesome art out there in the knife world, and I like all these different influences so much. And I haven't got to check out everything I want to yet, so I haven't got there yet. I haven't. I'm not going to say that I have Mount Rushmore yet because I haven't got a Les George in my collection yet. I haven't got a tactile turn in my collection yet. So there's a lot I still want to check out before I finalize it. But definitely Microtech, definitely Spyderco. Um, hmm. Those are probably my two favorites in my collection that I got.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good companies out there.
I love that. Well, thank you for sharing.
Oh yeah, no problem, man. No problem at all. It's funny. I didn't know that you had done so many interviews and stuff. So it's cool to interview somebody that does interviews.
It's yeah, yeah. It's a lot of fun. I think one of the hard parts about doing an interview is asking questions that get to the heart of what somebody actually thinks and what somebody actually feels. Because a good question will reveal a lot about a person, and a good question isn't like super obvious, like what the question's actually really about.
Yeah, I like
Like
that.
like sometimes you'll be like, "Oh, here's my answer to that." But really it like tells you more than just the answer to that question. I think that's
Absolutely.
really interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, Chris, thank you so very much for sitting with me. I really appreciate it. Um, Everybody, make sure you go check out Chris's Lone Star Knife Supply. Add a nice American-made pocket knife to your collection.
Well, hey, thank you, Shay, for having the time, man. I really appreciate it. And thank you for also rescheduling. It means a lot to me, man.
Oh, dude, no worries, no worries. Life can definitely hand you some curveballs. All right, brother, man.